Yair Davidi. Shalom, this is Yair Davidi speaking to you from Jerusalem, the capital of Israel. Speaking to you on behalf of Brit-Am, movement of the 10 tribes of Israel. We are now about to discuss why Jews should support Brit-Am movement of the 10 tribes of Israel. The previous talks that we gave discussed the importance of Brit-Am, and we have quite a few YouTube video clips on the web available concerning our general beliefs and proofs supporting them. Present, we are just going to discuss why this message is important for the Jewish people, and why Jews should internalize it and check it out, at least check it out, examine the evidence, come to their own conclusions, as Jews always do. But at the very least, hear us out, listen to us, and check into it. Because this information is important. It's important for the Jews, and it's important for everyone. It's important for the whole world. It's important for the whole of humanity. It's important for the 10 tribes, and it's also important for the Jewish people and for the state of Israel. There were 10 tribes of Israel out of 12 tribes. The 12 tribes of Israel originally ruled over the Middle East, over a good portion of the Middle East, and they were a very great, expansive kingdom. They split into 2 different sections. You can look it up in the Bible. After the death of King Solomon, the 12 tribes of Israel split into 2 different sections. The northern section comprised 10 of the tribes, 10 out of the 12 tribes. In other words, the majority of the Israelite nation, of the Hebrew people, were in the northern kingdom. This northern kingdom was conquered by the Assyrians, as the Bible tells us, as archaeology and other evidence confirms. This northern kingdom was conquered by the Assyrians, and all of its inhabitants were taken away. It was completely obliterated. It disappeared. All of the inhabitants, all of the 10 tribes were taken into exile to different portions of the Assyrian Empire, and there they lost consciousness, they lost awareness of their Hebrew identity. This is, if you look into their cultural state, the time of their exile, this is not surprising, because there was not that much that was really Israelite about them. At the time they were taken into exile anyway. They had stopped circumcising themselves. They worshipped other idols. They worshipped gods, false gods. They worshipped other gods. They were bad people from the point of view of biblical morality. And we would consider them a big disappointment. And they had mixed with the local peoples around them, taken in their values and their cultural practices and even their outlook on life, and they were not really that much Hebrew from the point of view of their conscious awareness at the time anyway. And so when their places of exile, they very quickly assimilated to the place of the nations around them, and they disappeared. They forgot who they were. Nevertheless, physically they remained to some degree in cohesive, coherent units of population that eventually recoalesced, joined together, linked together with each other, asserted their independence, and in the different groups they migrated to the north and to the west, and eventually they converged in Western Europe amongst Western European peoples. We're not saying that everyone there in those areas descends from Israelites. We are saying that is where the lost 10 tribes went to, that is where they came to, that is where they are to be found, that is where their descendants are to be found today, and that there was a divine purpose. The biblical prophecy said this is what would happen, and there was a reason for this, and we discussed this reason elsewhere, but there was a reason for it, and the reason has been fulfilled, at least to some degree, and now the time has come for these peoples to know who they are and to be informed as to who they are and to where they came from, and they should realize that they are brothers, physical brothers to the Jewish people, and they are destined to reunite with the Jewish people and have an obligation towards the Jewish people as the Jewish people has an obligation towards them. We have a mutual obligation towards each other, and also a mutual need, a very strong need for each other to rejoin and to merge together to some degree, to keep whilst keeping a respectable distance in the light of religious and cultural and historical differences. But we should also work together from this distance, a mutual respect. We should realize that we have mutual origins and we have a mutual destiny, and we have a goal that is the same. And we are faced with a whole sea of hostile, bitter, and nasty enemies. The whole world is against us. We should realize who we are and come together in order to fulfill that which is required of us, and also in order to survive. The Abarbanel, it's Isaac Abarbanel, a great commentator on the Bible, as well as a very important person in his own time. He was in effect the finance minister to several kings in Europe, and also an advisor to heads of government throughout Europe at different times in his life. A very learned person, and he wrote an expansive commentary on the Bible, on all of the Tanakh, and he says amongst the 14 aims of biblical prophecy, one of them is to know and to believe that the 10 tribes will return. They will return and come back to the land of Israel and reunite with Judah, and this is one of the principles of belief in the Bible. We also need to know this because it is part of Torah knowledge. Every Jew is commanded to learn the Torah, to learn the Bible and the related works, or works connected with the Bible, such as the Talmud and the commentaries and so on. This is all Torah, and we are commanded, all of us, every single one of us is commanded to do as much as he can, to learn as well as he can. Joshua chapter 1 verse 9, 8 and 9, it says that this book of the law shall not depart from your mouth. You shall meditate in it day and night, that you may observe to do according to all that is written in it. But then you will make your way prosperous, and then you will have good success. This is what we need, this is what we have to do, and this is what we shall do, God willing. And also there are many biblical narratives and prophecies throughout the Tanakh, and the sources that are incomprehensible, cannot be understood, cannot be correctly understood without realizing who the 10 tribes are. And this knowledge has become available in our time, and we need to make use of it, and to become aware of it, and to examine it. The Bible opens up a whole new world of information, of how we see the world, through realizing who the 10 tribes are. Realizing that the 10 tribes amongst Western people should lead us all to increase the learning of the Bible, the Tanakh, learning Judaism in general, to enable Jews to better understand the prophecies and the Nebuah prophecies of the Bible, and we will understand them much better. And many things that previously were unknown to us or we could not understand will now become understandable. It will also show the Jewish people who their natural allies are. We should know who our natural allies are and who our enemies are. Which peoples will have a propensity to be favorable towards us, and which will be a negative towards us, give or take in the exceptions of individuals, and give or take the historical and political circumstances and economic factors, give or take this and that. There are certain peoples in the world who will always be naturally favourable towards the Jewish people, and there are those who will be against us, and we need to know who these are and what they are, in order that we should realise how we can relate to them and how we can best work to our own advantage, which is what God wants us to do. The same way as He wants us to work and to do as well as we can in our work, in order to further a material prosperity and a very sustenance and existence, so too we have to know these things, we have to know these practices, we have to realise that we're in a world where survival requires us to know who our friends are and who our enemies are, who is related to us and who has an instinctive rapport towards us and wants to help, who wants us to help us, and who we should also help, and the opposite. This is very important information. Also, the peoples in question, they should be informed as to who they are. They should be informed concerning their own ancestry. In the future, they will set up colonies around, according to Zechariah, Micah, different prophets in the Bible. They will set up colonies around the state of Israel. They will help the state of Israel. They will set up colonies in Jordan, Syria, and Lebanon, and other areas. And these colonies will help the state of Israel. And eventually they will also return to the greater Middle East, resettle in this area, and reunite with the Jewish people. We will become one nation, and we will, God willing, be happy and peaceful and prosperous, and all of the world will be benefited through us. This is what the Jewish people always wanted, and this is how we can perhaps best achieve it. Yalkut Shimoni, the Midrash on Shirim, says that the 10 tribes in the end times, the exiles of Judah and Benjamin, that is the present day Jews, Present-day Jews are mainly descent from the tribes of Judah and Benjamin, with many from Levi, and also represented proportions of the other tribes, but most of the other tribes are to be found amongst the 10 tribes. Anyway, the Midrash says that in the exiles of Judah and Benjamin are destined to go into the 10 tribes and bring them back in order to merit with them the Messianic era and life in the world to come. This is as it says in Jeremiah chapter 3 verse 18, "In those days the house of Judah shall go into the house of Israel, and they shall come together out of the land of the north unto the land that I have given for an inheritance unto your fathers." This is a prophecy, and this is what has to be done and will be done, God willing. And we should be aware of it in order that we too may be merited to somehow or other further this and work in the required direction. This is what God wants us to do, and this is what we should do. The state of Israel now is preparing the way for the return of all of the 10 tribes. And it says in Isaiah 6:11, according to the commentary of Rabbi Tzvi Halisha and other commentators and other verses. The state of Israel is preparing the way for the 10 tribes of Israel, and we should know what we are preparing ourselves for, and what the future may well hold for us, and not only for our sake, but for the sake of everyone concerned. The state of Israel needs to be supported, and these people need to know why they should support the state of Israel, because the state of Israel is good for them as well as good for the Jewish people and good for the rest of the world. Thank you very much. This is Yair Davidi from Brit-Am Movement of the 10 Tribes of Israel, speaking to you from Jerusalem, from Rehavia, in the center of the new city of Jerusalem, the capital of the state of Israel. Thank you.